Welcome to the Tuesday night principal Chiro broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers. I'm Dr. Brian Moriarty, your esteemed MC for tonight's baby. Who's excited for that? Let's see some likes, some comments. Who's pumped up that it's DE week finally upon us after several months? I tell you, I've been jonesing for some DE. I've been like counting the days, ready. I'm excited. All right, hello Stephanie. Who else is excited for DE week? Whether you're coming or not, tell me you're excited. Okay, there's still a live stream option if you can't be there, but I'm excited to be there. It's nothing like being at DE, and it is officially DE week. Tiff, let's get that promo up there so we can get all the dates for everybody. Tiff's filling in for Kat. Kat's on the road here. There we go. Okay, better late than never. Good job, Tiff. So we got DE this week, October 21st to the 24th in Atlanta. Then we head to my beautiful sunshine state of Florida for Sarasota in January and Sarasota in April. Those are going to be some beautiful. That's a great time to go to DE in January. It's like a high of 72. It's going to be gorgeous rather than like snowing in Atlanta. That's a good move either way, guys. And then we're back in Atlanta way back in August. So, guys, if you haven't made your plans, get there to DE this week. It starts Thursday night. I am excited. Paul is excited. Everybody's excited. Mario's excited. Tiff's excited. Come on, let's go. More comments, more likes. Who's pumped for DE? Let's go, guys. And by the way, DE kicks off with the Chiro Cup brought to you by the GCC, the Georgia Council of Chiropractic. There it is. Got half the screen there. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't even read any of that besides Chiro Cup, and there's a golf ball there. So Thursday, I'm flying up for that. I know Eddie Martinez, Steve Judson, Brian Lieberman, I think Tim Warner. We got a bunch of us playing in the Chiro Cup, benefiting some nonprofits there. The Georgia Council of Chiropractic does a great job. So, guys, if you're coming in Thursday, tees off at 10 a.m., still want to get in, contact Kat. So you don't have to play golf. You can just come volunteer. I think they're still looking for volunteers. And it is going to be an epic golf tournament. Thank you to the GCC and Kat and Brian and everyone for putting that on. It's going to be an awesome time. So we got the Chiro Cup Thursday. Then Thursday night, we head over to DE to start DE Thursday night until Sunday. Schedule is up on the website, guys. If you go to, what is it, Life something. I don't know. Google DE and you'll find it. It's one of the favorites on my phone. But anyway, the schedule is up. The actual speakers have been listed. So if you want to get a gander at the schedule, we got an awesome program. And this lady is on the program too. Speaking on Saturday night. She must be doing something right here, guys. If she's doing the Tuesday night call to kick off DE week, and then Saturday night she's on the schedule. I'm pretty excited to hear her tonight. But I got to tell you how this call came about. First of all, because we were kind of stretched for a speaker, and little Navia, you know that Navia girl, Kat's granddaughter. She's like 11, but she's like way beyond her years. She contacted me and she goes, "Listen, do you guys like take requests for the Tuesday night speakers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So she says, "I really want to hear Elizabeth Rassel." And I was like, Nevaeh, that's great. Just come to D and you can hear her. She's usually speaking there, and that'll be fine. But then she's like, no, I really want to hear Liz on this Tuesday night call. So, we got together and we were like, you know what? Let's do it. Navia's a young rising star. She's pretty switched on. She knows some talent here. So let's give her wish. Let's put on Liz Rassel Tuesday night. DE week. Thank you, Navia, for the suggestion. Look at that in action, and let's kick off DE week. And just so you know, this lady's been in practice for like decades. She told me December of some year. I don't remember what it was. 1988, 1998, something like that. But she's got like 20 chiropractors in her family. Her parents are chiropractors, or like uncles or sisters. Big chiropractic family, second generation chiropractor, coming to you from LaPorte, Indiana. Guys, give it up for Dr. Liz Rassel. Take it away, Liz. Love you.
I don't know. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? I'm hoping everybody can hear me. I am on the far side of my house, and I just realized that my internet connection is kind of shoddy. I was about ready to run downstairs in my office, but if it goes haywire, Brian, send me a quick text, and I'll run downstairs closer to the router. First, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me be on the Tuesday night speaker call. I've been really nervous all day when, Brian asked me to speak. I was like, oh heavens, what does anybody really want to hear about? And I just assumed that my life is a book and everybody kind of knows who I am. But a lot of people don't know who I am. People that have been to DE for 20 years, maybe 5-10 years know me, but the new people really don't know who I am. And not that I'm all that great, but I was one of those kids that ran around in the back of DE, like we speak about. Brian gets up stage and he says, I never want to speak at DE, but I always want to raise my kids there. Well, why? So they can turn out like Liz, right? No. I love DE, and I'm so thankful that I've been a part of it and that my parents instilled me into the principles of DE. And some of the major principles that I learned, you don't even remember until like the rubber hits the road and you have to apply them to your everyday life, because we all have challenges. There's obstacles. There's belief systems. It's who you rent the upstairs to. Persistence is omnipotent. There's so many little quotes that jump in your head in trying times of everyday life. Like today, I went to Riker's school. We got him in Queen of All Saints, which is a Catholic school. And I drive them 20 minutes every day to school and then back before office hours begin. And at first I wasn't happy about it, because I'm like, man, I could get a lot done in that 40 minutes. I could sleep in, I could brush my teeth longer, whatever else excuses that you have. And then I realized, after the couple times I drove back and forth, I thought to myself, this really isn't that bad. This really is an opportunity. And I thought about it, and it's an opportunity really to pour into our kids. Here every day we get up, we prepare for work, we go into work, we serve the masses. We're all about the lasting purpose, giving, loving, serving from our abundance that we give to all of our patients. We give to our staff, we give to our husband, we give to our families, we give to ourselves. And and trying to our people was just kind of being selfish, because my kids, they need it just as much as I do. I don't know why I'm crying, but I guess it's a realization that it really is about connecting and loving one another, and being the best you can be, and creating that opportunity to be the best. So every day I get to drive my boys to Queen of All Saints, little Catholic school on the far west side of Michigan City. And I focus in on what really needs to be said, and that is to create a mindset of production and integrity and love and joy, and really being present with where they are at that moment. Before I had kids, there was nothing more than I wanted to do than to go into my practice. You go to school. Well, first of all, back up. I mean, going to school, it's a challenge within itself, but you complete chiropractic school, and then you have to figure out how to build a practice. And then you figure out how to have a practice, how to adjust, how to run an office. And then you get on fire and you continue to grow and grow and grow and serve and serve and serve. And it's like I'm in a constant state of sympathetic excitement in my heart and in my practice. I'm waiting for my body to kind of slow down. And I think it did once I had children, because I put extra weight on. I was eating and drinking too much. I was getting very little sleep, having twin boys. And then, I witnessed a lot of people getting in shape. My friend Anna, I stayed in her room and she's like, Lizzie, look at this muscle. And she starts hitting her bicep. And I'm like, damn, Anna, that's awesome. Where did you get that? Did you get that at Walmart? And she's like, I hired a personal trainer and I'm doing it. I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to make that kind of commitment. But I started seeing people change, and I started the Optavia program, and the weight started shedding off of me. And I'll tell you that the change that happened when you drop pounds is unbelievable. You know, I was in the beginning of 2020, I posted a COVID video in March from where was it? It was in Cancun. I was stuck on March 10th in Cancun with my family. I stayed there for 18 days because they shut down the airports. I mean, they did not want, they let everybody come in, but there was no guarantee that everybody was going to be able to come in. So everybody was coming in. There were so many people going into the airport. My sister Ruth was like, don't go. Whatever you do, do not go into the airport. That's where COVID is happening. So we just decided to stay put. And we did for 18 days. And I made a video up on the landing. And I looked back on that last year on March. And I saw like a person that I just kind of didn't know. I saw the glimpse in her eyes, but I really didn't see me. Even though we look outside of our eyes and we're serving and we're connecting with people, we don't really see our body or see our physique in a negative way, because I love myself. I mean, I love the way I look. I love my energy, and that's something that has been instilled in me from the beginning. Like, you have to love yourself before you can love other people. So when I saw that video, it just kind of, hit home, and I realized that it was time to do something. And the switch flipped. And today, not even realizing it, I only got 4.5, 5 hours of sleep because Tony Ann was up last night 2 or 3 times between the diapers and whatnot. But I have so much energy, and it's because I've lost weight. So I'm thankful for that. But we'll back up the story. I was watching Nolan last night, and he reminded me of that handshake that Dr. Sid, he said, I met Liz Rassel on the hallway, and I don't know what I was thinking. I do remember that conversation with you, Nolan. And it's true. Dr. Sid was all about the handshake. And I'm so glad that I was able to connect with you right when your eyes were open and you were ready to observe. And I'm thankful that Dr. Sid passed that on to me, and I was able to pass it on to you. And that is really what DE is about. It's about creating opportunities and expressing love to one another that is positive in the progression of not only oneself, but of the principle of chiropractic. Other than Jesus Christ himself, there is nothing bigger than life, which is bigger than chiropractic. There's nothing bigger than that. And that is something that we as chiropractors have to learn to communicate. It's a struggle. I'm not masterful at words or letters. I'm really good at numbers, to be honest. And just to speak freely off your heart or write a paper, it just doesn't come natural for me. So to learn to communicate chiropractic, I feel it was a challenge. Even though it was in my heart, it's hard to get. I think of that little dog that runs around the pit bull. It's like, George, what are we going to do? What are we going to do, George? Ha, ha, ha. And I didn't want to be that chiropractor. I wanted to be able to have the conviction and the connection and be able to use the words. So I think that is so important for young practitioners to really learn how to do in a very basic sense. Because if you can't communicate what you do and why you do it, why would anybody commit to that? If you can't get it in your brain and you can't anchor to it and be able to communicate it, who can anchor to an unanchored mind? So if you can't communicate it to express your passion, it's no bueno, no bueno. So I was born in 1970. I'm 50 and a half, and I was born to Linda and Ed Rassel. And my sister Ruth was born in Davenport, Iowa in 1996. And I'm sorry, was it 96? Did I say 96? Hold on. 73. She was born 3 years after I was. And my mother and father graduated in June or April of 94 from Davenport, Iowa. Back then, the schooling was really short. It was 2.5 years. I was only 2.5, 3 years of age. I've never been vaccinated. I've been adjusted almost since birth. And Ruthie, she was born on December of, school break. How my parents got into practice was my father was a typing teacher. He was a co-op teacher, and he became a teacher so he could avoid the war. My mother worked at Ford as a secretary, and so my father went to one of the co-op typing, students, and called the placement of the student, and it was Chuck Ribley, and she was working in there as a co-op student, and he said, I'd like to come and check up on one of the students that, you're employing. And he said, great. How does 7 o'clock at night? And he goes, well, I don't know about that. My dad was just very adamant about coming so late at night. And he goes, well, I'm a busy chiropractor and that's my last appointment. So if you would like to have any paperwork or signatures, that's the time you have to do it. And as a chiropractor, as you all know, what happens on Tuesday night is orientation, right? At least the old schools. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday was practice, and then Tuesday was orientation. So my father showed up to Chuck Ribley's orientation, and he sat for it. And then afterwards, he decided to become a chiropractor. He heard the story, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I think chiropractic would be a great profession for me and my family. I resonate with that principle that Chuck told him, and it was hook, line, and sinker. So he came home and told my mom that and said, as of this day, this is when we're going. So they started to make precautions and got a little undergraduate or whatever they had to do to get ready to move to Davenport, Iowa. And at the time they were living in Belleville, Michigan. And so Chuck started to pour in, Dr. Chuck Ribley and Ruth Ribley. They started to pour into my father and said, hey, here's some tapes. Remember those things, the little cassette tapes? He said, take this home and give this to your wife, and it's going to get her on focus as to what chiropractic is. So my mother, she was cleaning the house and she was listening to the cassette tape. And as she was dusting around the table, the man said, if you are listening to this tape and you have head and you have heart and you have hands, you shall be a chiropractor. And that man was Jim Sigafus. So Jim inspired my mother to become a chiropractor, because when my father came home that day, she said, Ed, just to let you know, I have been called and I too want to become a chiropractor, and I'm going to go to school with you. And he said, okay. So they packed up, they went to Davenport, and they began school. From there, he shared the principle of chiropractic with my uncle Charles Rassel, which has a son, Dr. Ian Rassel, in Escondido, California. He practices. And then out there, my Uncle Chuck is retired to Washington with Aunt Marge. And then Uncle Larry became a chiropractor, which was his younger brother, my father's younger brother. And then his sister, Carol Rassel, now Miller, became a chiropractor, went to Davenport, and they were all within the same year of graduation. When we went back there for the intensive, I got to go down to the archives and find all their pictures, and it was pretty sweet. And she met a man named Chuck Rassel, or Miller, Dennis Miller, excuse me, Uncle Dennis. And so he was already in school, and he comes from a long line of chiropractors. So they all kind of came back to Michigan, and then they split off, and then more nieces and nephews and more became chiropractors. But as time went on, obviously we grew, and we watched my mother and father have multiple practices at time, up to 3. And my mom was driving back and forth from a small town, Buchanan, Michigan, back up to Lansing. And they had associates, and we jumped schools. And then I graduated high school, and I really had no idea what I wanted to do, but I wanted to go to college. Obviously, that is what young kids usually do, go to the liberal arts schools. So I was thinking I would be like a hospitality tourism management major, something really executive where I had a big idea that I'd come down to Moriarty's place in Orlando and, have the high executives and their families and kids come down there, and we would have write it off, and I'd put 20% off, and I would be the social coordinator and make sure the kids had childcare, and we'd get the high executives in the 8 to 10 continuing education classes, and we would get the women's nails done, and And then, I would make lots of money. And I had this grandiose idea, which was just a flash in the bucket. Thank God I did poorly in hospitality school. I did. But that was about 2.5 years. And my father said, Lizzie, why don't you take a break from school? Because obviously what you're studying, you're just not into. And I thought that was a good idea because I felt like I was wasting his money and my time, and I just really wasn't into it. So I moved to Southern California with my uncle Larry, and it wasn't a really good environment, even though they thought that it was safe there. It really wasn't. It was an eye opener. And at that time in his life, he was very disconnected and miscommunicated. And, I got to witness as a 21-year-old female, drugs and partying and craziness happening, but never once did I allow that to get into my system. In fact, I stayed on the far side of the house in the library, and I was very much connected to these different books on the wall. And I was pulling out different books. And one of the books that Dr. Steve Judson loves is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And there's the sister book, which is the original book. It's called Success to a Positive Mental Attitude by Napoleon Hill. And that was the book that changed my life to become a chiropractor. In fact, I have one tattoo and it is stamped PMA, Positive Mental Attitude, because that was what the name of the book was. It changed my life. So as I began the book, in the foreword, it said, somewhere in this book, your life will be changed. And it might be at the beginning, the middle, or at the end, but you will see life differently. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, I was a speed reader because I was in college at 21. So I just started reading through it. And I'm like, this guy is a joke. This was 1958. I don't know. Who is this old man, writing this book? So I began to read it. And it was about 3/4 the way through. I had a deep pang in my heart that I knew that I was not supposed to be in California anymore and that I needed to get back and be a chiropractor. And never before had I ever thought about it. I thought about it, but I pushed it under the rug. I didn't think I was smart enough or good enough or successful enough. But all the meanwhile, I had the tools. They were inside me. They were already built in there. And that was because I came to DE at a young age and I heard the truth about the potential that is in every single one of us, this amazing potential in our body to not only heal, but to be persistent, to go out and get something. And that if it was easy, nothing ever earned was easy to obtain. Hi, Tony Ann. Hold on. Hold on, honey. Come on over here. Your dad. Here, honey. Tony Ann's coming in here. It's the witching hour at the Rassel Castle. Senorita. Okay, come on over here then. So I knew that there was nothing ever worth having that wasn't worth working for. And I'll tell you, if it was easy, everybody would do it. That would be the truth. Say hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Say see you in a couple days.
In a couple days.
Blow some kisses. Say night night.
Good night.
Okay.
Come on, Tony, let's jump in the big bed.
Good night, honey. I'll be right in.
We're gonna get the big bed. That's enough.
Yep, that's my life. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So I knew that I had to get out of there. I had to get out of Southern California. And so I read this book, Success to a Positive Mental Attitude, and it changed my life because the book was basically about, just like Dr. Sid spoke about, when you knock on the door and you're this pan salesman and you need a certain amount of no's to get that yes. And if you knew that you could do it all along at a certain amount of no's, would you ever stop knowing that you could get a yes after a certain amount of no's? And that is the truth. Like persistence, tenacity, balls to the wall. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I looked over at my mother witnessing her perseverance. It's unbelievable. What an incredible role model to see, her do it. And that's where I give kudos to all the women out there. I mean, not to say that women can't do it, but I love how society nowadays is heightened about like Black Lives Matter and, we got to take care of the indigents that are coming across the border. And all these people have been need reciprocity. And the Indians, well, the women are really the ones that have to prove themselves the most, because I don't know if you realize it, but women are sub-programmed that they are the caretakers of the family, and they got to take care of everyone. They cook and clean, and they are not necessarily the breadwinners. So for them to go outside the norm, outside the stereotype, is like a huge undertaking. It's like going to the moon. It's like being the first person to the moon. It's a really big deal. So when I went back to, when I read that book, I called my mom and she said, Lizzie, it's time for you to come home. If you want me to help you, whatever you need to do. And I did. And I thank God I did it at that exact moment. God had a plan for me. And I went back to school at Lansing Community College, got the undergraduate. Long story short, ended up at Life University. And that's a whole nother story in itself. I went to Palmer College to check out that school. But I'll tell you what happened at Life. It was miraculous. It was in 1997. And my sister Heather had just had her wisdom teeth out. And we drove down to see what life was like in Palmer at the time. And she didn't talk the whole time, and she did not want to hear any music. So I sat in silence 10 hours down to Atlanta, Georgia. So we roll in on a Friday night, and my mother said, go into Life University, go in and say hi to Dr. Sid and tell him who you are. And I thought, how could I go in to a president's office and let him know, hey, I'm Liz Rassel from, Michigan. My mom wants me to come and say hi. Like, I've never met you. Who is this guy? But we did. We went in there, and Jean Riley was at the front desk, and she was amazing. She said, well, Dr. Sis probably want to say hi to you. Sit down here, girls, or look around and make yourself at home. So we did. And gosh, a good hour and a half later, out comes Dr. Sid, and we were able to go into his private quarters and look around, and it was just amazing. We rolled out the red carpet for me and us, and we went to the Braves game, and it's just a whole nother story. But Dr. Sid was such an incredible influence in my family's life, being a part of Life University as a student and being a part of DE. I mean, right from the get-go, and witnessing him in his glory days and even near the end. And as a child, a young child and a young student, and now, a 50-year-old chiropractor. I miss them a lot, and it's heartbreaking because, change is good, but not when you lose a mentor like Dr. Sid. He gave us an incredible legacy at DE, and it's a blessing, He's a blessing. And I love Thursday nights because we get to watch him. And when I watch him, it's nothing like him in real life. When he's right there, I almost want to have surround sound where you put earphones on to listen to him. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I've been a part of that, because DE has given me a different direction and a different understanding of who I am and who I want to be and who I want my children to be and who they are and the capabilities and the possibilities that I have to be the best person I can be for not only my patients, but my family. So I'm thankful I'm a chiropractor. Every day I get to lay my hands on people and witness and testify and communicate. I had a lady come in tonight, and actually she came in yesterday, young girl, 24 years old, brand new married, and she's been having extreme pain in her lower right back, and she had slipped down the stairs because she was drinking, and it's been going on since June. Miserable. Hold on. And she's just been in horrible pain. So she asked me, I thought about seeing a chiropractor, and I was hoping that you could help me. So I said, well, what we normally do is we do an exam, and then we take some x-rays and see if there's any problems that we can help you with. But before we do that, I want to go over a couple things. And I shared with her what we do and how we do it. And I explained to her the power inside the body. And I have this tiny little spinal model that sits on my desk. I say a lot of people don't realize that we're made from one egg and one sperm. And when that connection happens, the body begins to manifest and the spirit is dropped right inside there. The first thing that is created is the brain and spinal cord. And I show her the brain and the spinal cord, and off of the spinal cord comes the nerve rootlets, and all the nerves connect to every tissue, organ, and cell of our body, continuing supplying life. So just like the leaves out there, and I have a window and I point out there, just like the leaves on those trees, all of these leaves are connected through its branching system to its trunk, to its source. And it's the same with our body. Our source is our brain. So in order for our body to function and connect and to heal, and know what to do, it has to have the signals from the brain through the spinal cord. And I have the spinal model. And she says, that makes sense. And, sometimes I don't think they get it. Like, you got to really dumb it down. So you take the spinal model on and say, this is what it looks like inside the spine. You see that little nerve in the spinal cord? And I think, and we're going to confirm, what happens is when these bones move out of alignment, it squeezes the nerve. It's like putting a rubber band around your wrist. People get that. If you put a rubber band around your wrist, what happens to your fingers eventually? That's right, they go numb. And that's what happens to the nervous system when we have slips or falls or malpositions within the system. And that's what we chiropractors call a subluxation. It's very specific, and I want you to memorize it. It's not a submarine, it's a subluxation. Say it after me. Subluxation. I know it's a hard word. It's a weird word to say. So what we're going to do tonight, Abby, is we're going to take some x-rays and we're going to see if there's any problems that I can help you with. And then we're going to invite you back and go over the results. So tonight it was the results. But when we took the x-ray and we were in the back there and I saw the x-ray, I looked and I go, oh, Abby, yep, I can see right where the problem is. I ended up adjusting her yesterday. But as soon as I said, oh, Abby, I can definitely see where the problems are. I can see why you've been in pain. She starts bawling, like worse than I just did. She starts bawling. And she's like, oh my God, I've had a number high in a CT. I mean, she's like going over the top. She's like, I've had a number high in CT. And she's like, and my husband, I can't seem to figure it out. No one understands what's happening. And I'm so thankful. And I realized right then, like, we just don't move bones. And we do not just correct the nervous system. We do more. We do more as principled chiropractors. We give hope. Like, we give hope to people that think that they're going to die from the pain that they're having or the system that they're having or the COVID they might give. I mean, we have the capability as chiropractors to change and mold and manifest people's thought processes, the way we look at it, because we change our own thought processes by the lessons that we learn, like by being omnipotent, by being tenacious, by being persistent, by giving and loving and receiving without any expectation in return. Even though I've heard that all the time, excuse me, the person that I heard it from was Dr. Darcy Anderson, and it was at Dr. Tina Sigafus's house in 2001. I remember her repeating that. And I looked at her, I was like, wow, that just rolled off your tongue so easily. Like, what exactly did you just say again? Like, she said, Liz, you should give, love, and serve. I give, love, and serve without any expectation in return. So the situation that you're in over here with the conversation I was having, you cannot allow yourself to attach, to ask them to give you back something or to act a certain way when you give, love, and serve to them. You cannot expect them to repay you that loan. You cannot expect them to think about you when it's time for donations. Like, that limitation is your limitation. And the hardest part as a chiropractor with the lasting purpose is the last part, without expectations of return. That's hard to do. That's really, really hard to do. But we can do it. We can do it as a collective. I can do it. I do it all the time. I think about my little guys driving them back and forth, and I think about my little girl wiping her butt. I swear I wiped 10 asses in one day, and I was just tired and sick and tired of bending over and wiping poop. I just was done one day. And And I think I've lost my mind having kids. I don't know. But I see my husband do it every day with our kids. Daddy, I need milk. Daddy, I need food. And I look over at him. I'm like, do you ever get tired of just getting up and down and up and down? Because not to be mean, he says, Lizzie, how was your day? Come sit down, relax. I'll serve you food. Like, he's a servant. He serves me food and tea. He just brought in tea before we started. Oh, that's the Cubs. You see that? The one time they won. Yeah, I got the cup. That's all that matters. But he's a servant. And I asked him just recently, we were on our way to mass. And I said, how do you do that every day? How do you get up and just serve and be okay with that? Do you ever just want to check out and leave? He says, no. And I go, how do you do that? And you know what his answer was? I mean, he hasn't been to D a lot, maybe once a year. He says, that's what I was called to do. And it's easy. It's easy to do what you're called to do. So are you doing something that's easy in your practice? Do you get up every day and serve your way out of it? Do you, even when that last person is there and you are hungry and you're tired and you want to get home to your husband, Michael, or whoever your husband's name is, and you just want to get in your pajamas and take a bra off? Do you wish they'd hurry up, or do you just serve, knowing that that's what you're called to do? I mean, that's what we're called to do, to give, to love, and to serve from our abundance without expectation of return. And I think I'm really resonating with that recently because, just 7 years ago, I was a free woman. I was coming and going as I pleased. Even though I was happily married, I could do whatever the heck I wanted. I didn't have to worry about anything, other than having things covered, but I didn't have anyone relying on me, put it that way. So it's been a different lifestyle for me the last 7 years, but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because that's what I'm called to do. I'm called to be a mother, not only a chiropractor, but a mother. And in this nowadays of everything that's going on, we need to protect our own. We need to we got to pour into our own to give them the tools to survive. And I know that it's our community, it's our chiropractic family, it's our individual families, but really we need to really tune into our own families and to the people that are around us and the people that want to be around us. If there's family members out there or friends that are so far away, or you don't connect with, or they don't want to be with you, or you have sisters or brothers or offsprings that are doing their own life and they just can't get to you and you want to be with them, tune into that and just say, who's around me that really wants to be with me, and who do I really want to be around? Because those are the people that God put in your life to connect with. Those are the ones that you have the influence and the power to love down, love down, love them down. I saw Nolan's shirt last night. I loved it. It was like, I can, I will, I must. And I was like, oh man, I forgot all about that saying. So all day, 20 minutes, or not all day, all morning, 20 minutes on the drive in, we screamed, I can, I will, I must. And then I would pretend, okay, boys, it's time to come in for recess. Everybody come on in. And the boys go, oh, I don't want to. And I go, what? And they go, I can, I will, I must. They were like on fire. But that's what it takes, I can, I will, I must. And I just really loved it. And I think about DE coming up, and yeah, Brian said something about Saturday. I don't know if it's a punishment or reward, but we're going to try it. We're going to throw up the confetti. We're going to unlock the balloons, and we're going to see if we can do this. But I'm super stoked about this DE. I have really needed it, even though this is the shorter DE. I think Brian said that it's one of the shorter Ds. I just get antsy like the 3 weeks before, like the 3 or 4 weeks before I start jittering and get nervous. And I almost just want to get on a plane and walk around the hotel knowing that it's going to come. But it's going to come sooner than later, and it's going to be over like that. And then we're going to be on to January, and we just got to keep plugging along. So I thank you for allowing me to share my story, the short version, Tiffany, the short version, the abridged version. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday.
Great job, girl. Love you.
I love you, B.
I just cannot wait to take my bra off and get out of these clothes and get to bed. That was such a powerful reference.
I bet you can relate, right?
You know, men don't wear bras, but we do wear dress shoes, and I can't wait to kick those bad boys off. But, you know, you're
Yeah.
right. Just got to stay in the moment here and keep serving. And that
Yeah.
was a great call. I think we got to thank Navia for suggesting you.
Yes.
She delivered, because that was an incredible talk. What a way to
Thank
kick off DE week. DE is officially started with Liz Rassel, baby. And that was great to see Tony Ann too in there. So
Aw, yeah.
you're bringing the kids or what?
The whole family's coming.
Awesome. I'm bringing my whole family too, so we'll have to get together.
I would love that. They're going to be at Kids DE, right?
Of course, they're going to be running Kids DE. Look out.
All
So
right.
anyway, thank you so much, Liz, for sharing your heart and soul for chiropractic. It was awesome tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
You.
Can't wait to see everybody in just a couple of days. We're less than 48 hours away from DE and Dr. Sid and Dr. Umber, and you don't want to miss it, guys. There's still time. If you haven't signed up, please go get signed up now. But thank you, Dr. Liz. Love and appreciate you. See you in a couple days.
You. All right. Good luck at the Chiro Cup.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great night.